Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to TJ's Lego Room. And today I'm excited to talk about one of the most iconic vehicles in Star Wars. And up to this point, the best version of that vehicle that I have ever seen. um, we're talking about speeder bikes. Last week, I believe it was last week, I talked about a new project that I'm working on, a new mythology in Star Wars that has to do with repulsor lift racing. And it's kind of a spin-off of a little bit of NASCAR kind of feel, but obviously it's got that Star Wars flair to it. And if you were to compare what I'm doing with actual NASCAR, yeah, it's not even close. But that was where the initial inspiration came from one of the comments. And in my research, I've been going across many of the different types of repulsor lift vehicles in Star Wars and trying to find the different categories of vehicles that are going to be racing in this NASCAR of Star Wars. So today we're going to be talking about speeder bikes. And speeder bikes are repulsor lift vehicles that use very small repulsor lifts, but also usually have some sort of a propulsion mechanism on the vehicle. At first, I was looking at just doing a completely repulsor lift vehicle, but the more I look into Star Wars and how things work, there's no such thing as a vehicle that exists solely using repulsor lifts. As far as I've seen so far, there could be some obscure stuff, but everything I've seen from skiffs, land speeders, speeder bikes, everything has a forward propulsion. So that's actually really informed my NASCAR stuff. Anyway, let's jump into this. So this particular vehicle, should be up now, is from the website Brick Fanatics. And I'll have a link down below so you guys can check out this exact video. And holy cow, this speeder bike looks absolutely amazing. I think one of my favorite parts about it is that the character looks like he's sitting on the speeder bike when he's on some kind of an angle. It looks like he's integrated into the bike. But with using this bracket piece down here, it also uses that visual style that the speeder bikes have, that have those footrests that their feet kind of sit on and that they control. It's the pedals that they've got. It actually looks like it's got the pedals, even though those are actually structural. Now, one thing I did have a major concern with before I built this was if the sections that are hinging on each other down here are going to hold up. And I got to say, I'm quite impressed with the part choices on this, because it actually does hold quite well. It uses a lot of those pneumatic tees and then just a couple of the clips that we would normally see, the modified plate clips. And those particular clips, especially the new ones that are the open O, holy cow, they worked really, really well. So starting from the very front, the vanes on there, those vanes look pretty good. I mean, they're not perfect. They do have a little bit of a weirdness to them, but I find that, vanes on the front of a speeder are vanes on the front of a speeder. They can really be any shape and they can work really good. As far as this one goes, the coloration looks really good too. I should also mention that I did change the colors on this particular mock. A lot of the dark gray that you see on mine actually is white on the model that they use. It was meant to go along with the Mandalorian spacecraft, the Razor Crest, from season 1. And so a lot of their parts that they used are white. I don't have any of these crazy angles in white. They're all, or I guess they're actually called wedges. But I did have those wedges in a couple other colors, and so that's what I decided to use. It goes back and uses, for those of you who are familiar with me and some of the TIE fighters that I've built, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of the 1x1 modified round plate with a bar on it. Well, this actually uses 3 of those, so that's fantastic. And then it also uses some of the new bracket pieces, the 1x1 brackets, the uppers in this case. And so, this mock is right after my own design peculiarities and preferences. So The shafts going along back are fine. I would have loved to see those a little bit closer together, to be honest. I haven't done a lot of experimenting with getting them closer together, but when you're looking at it from the side or from any angle, as long as it's not like directly front, even front on, it looks good. From every angle except this, I like the front forks. They look pretty good. Having just done the X-Wing speeders, I'm in that mode of front forks. So the middle section here is really cool because it does feel like a motorcycle. It feels like it's below the character a bit and that they're actually riding on top of it, which I think is really important when you're building a speeder. Then you've got the section that looks a little bit like the foot pedals. Now, because it is a Lego and Lego guy's legs don't spread apart, it's very hard to make a seat for the Lego guy to ride on. That's why when Lego used the old three-wheeler pieces originally as the speeder bikes, I'm not saying originally like back in 1999, but when they went to using those, they were extremely good parts to use because you could clip the little feet onto the old wheel sections, and you had a center bar for the minifigure to sit on, so it looked really good whether the figure was on or off. This doesn't look as good with the minifigure off. I may pull it off in just a little bit to show you guys, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I think the hardest thing with the minifigure not on there is to get it lined up the way that it was when the minifigure was actually on. What's interesting is the back section. I did a lot of research on what the back section looked like, and a lot of times in Lego they had the backpacking pack that they would just sit on the back as like the little duffel bags. You can imagine Baby Yoda sitting in the back of that from the first season of The Mandalorian. That's kind of what it was reminiscent of. But he actually nailed the back of this, and these little plates on the back, I think, are supposed to be lockable plates so that you can carry a little bit of extra weight or some extra storage or possibly even a second seat to transport a person. I didn't think those were actually on there, and in a lot of pictures of the speeder bikes, it doesn't have them, but when I was looking at the ones from The Mandalorian, they do have these on the back, and a lot of the ones that we've seen in the movies and the TV shows now, they actually do have them. So many props to the designer of this one. They did a great job. Again, you can find the info on this one on Brick Fanatics. I'll have the link down below so you guys can check it out. There is not a parts list available yet. I'm sending him out an email asking if it would be okay if I put this together in Stud.io and put it up on Rebrickable as free instructions, because they gave the instructions for free as well. I don't want to step on anybody's toes by doing that, so I'm kind of waiting to hear back. But yeah, this was a really cool mock, and honestly, how thin the speeder bike is very appealing to me. I would love to replace the speeder bikes that I have on the all-terrain Tactical Command Center and replace them with this version in white. Like I have the white and black for the First Order. I'd love to do the white and black speeder bikes in this design. I think it would work really well. But before I do that, I may as well use the pieces that I have, and I ended up getting a couple of those Speed Champions Ferrari sets with all the red wedge pieces. And so why not make a Sith Trooper speeder bike in red and black? Let's show you that. And I gotta say, I really like the red and black color scheme. I think it looked really good. I do have a few complaints about the sequel trilogy, but in all honesty, the color schemes, at the very least, the color schemes are fantastic. You gotta admit, the red and black goes extremely well together, and I loved the idea of where the red troopers came from. The original stormtroopers were supposed to look like skeletons, and these are supposed to look like muscles, and that's why they've got the stripes all over. They're supposed to remind you of muscles, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out TJ's Lego Room. It's been so much fun. Next week, I hopefully will have some fun surprises for everybody, and I've got some more live puzzle builds in the works. working on the NASCAR in Star Wars, working on Batman in Star Wars. We got so much stuff that we're doing. I'm excited to show it to you. Hopefully my work schedule clears up a little bit, and I'm sure the holidays won't mess with that at all. So until next time, we will see you in TJ's Lego Room, and play well till then. Bye.